Azeroth and Zereth Mortis. This connection has been speculated on since we first learned about this mysterious realm. Now, I've already made multiple videos on this topic, but when 9.2 was announced, I thought I completely missed the point. However, Blizzard indirectly confirmed that 9.2 will be connected to Azeroth's soul in an email, and there have been some hints from the screenshots that show Azeroth channeling right behind the jailer, right in the middle of the Sepulchre. So what exactly is the connection between Zereth Mortis, Azeroth, the Sepulchre, and the jailer, and will this in fact be related to the grand finale of this expansion? Check out Gamivo, this video is sponsored, where you can get almost any game, DLC, Shadowlands, and 2-month game time at discounted prices. Use code DORON for an even larger discount by clicking the link in the description. This has been a really popular theory within the lore community since the start of the Shadowlands, since that famous sentence of the jailer when he said that death is coming for the soul of our world. Most recently, 9.2 Eternity's End was revealed. We know that we are going into Zereth Mortis, which is apparently the workshop of the first ones, and we also know that the final raid will be the Sepulchre, which is apparently like the forged in the center of this incredibly mysterious realm. As soon as this was announced, I thought I was wrong and that there is no connection between the realm and our world soul, but now there is a ton of different forms of evidence, some direct information by Blizzard, some screenshots that we can extrapolate information from, and some tinfoil hat type theories that make quite a bit of sense. So let's just unwrap this stuff. Since the Chronicle book, it was claimed that Azeroth is a nascent titan, and this was really the dominant team in battle for Azeroth especially. We also went to Argus, which was a nascent titan, and all of this kind of made sense. We also have a soul inside of the planet just like Argus. However, this one is actually a lot more powerful and a lot more important for the entirety of the cosmos. Everyone in the universe, from the Legion to the Void Lords, wants to awaken it for themselves and all that stuff that you're already familiar with. Well, all of that changed with the Grimoire of the Shadowlands when the brokers essentially told us that all we know from this Chronicle book is from a biased Titan perspective, and that they're really not as important as they claim to be. So it is totally rational to straight out just dismiss the fact that Azeroth is a Titan world soul. Keep in mind, Blizzard confirmed on multiple occasions that Azeroth is a soul. The jailer said so, Blizzard said so in the most recent email promoting 9.2, but they never once mentioned Titans in any way, shape, or form. So it is totally possible that Azeroth is a really powerful soul that the Titans claim for themselves, telling all of us that it is one of their own, but intrinsically it may have absolutely nothing to do with them. Now, I'm not going to bore you with yet another analogy of Zereth Mortis and Azeroth name similarities, but I really don't think it is just a simple coincidence, especially as they just came up with the Zereth Mortis stuff like a few months ago. Really? Why would they use the word Zereth? Seriously, the name Zereth and Azeroth is just way too similar for it to not be connected in any way. Additionally, the word Zereth is a word in the first one language. So if there is a connection between these two words, that could also directly connect first ones to our planet. So what actually is this information that we have? Let's just dig into it. Blizzard literally just sent an email, you might have even received it yourself, promoting Eternity's End 9.2, and they said these exact words at the end: prepare to face your destiny in Eternity's End. The soul of Azeroth depends on it. Once again, I really don't think this is just a coincidence. Yet again, they mention Azeroth's soul and not a Titan soul, and yet again, they connect the soul of the planet to us and the Shadowlands. Now, this all relates to the various hints that were thrown our way all throughout the Shadowlands, all throughout the entire expansion. First is that the jailer said death comes for the soul of your world. All that you see, all that you know will be undone. Then the jailer later on said during that Rune Carver memory scene that he wants to claim the prize that the first one sought to hide as he was creating Frostmourne and the Lich King on Azeroth. Now, another bit of a tinfoil hat theory, albeit a really good one, came about on Reddit, and that is at the end of 9.1 in the final cinematic, you may remember that Zoal said, "Come, be the first to witness reality's end." Now, at first glance, this might not mean anything to you, it just seems like generic villain dialogue, but if you go to the old cosmology chart, Azeroth and ourselves are put in the middle and the words reality are written right there. Could this really be a coincidence that the jailer said we'll witness the end of reality, or was he talking about Azeroth being the engine behind reality as we know it? Now let's take a look at even more great hints. If you checked out the 9.2 press kit, you may have seen a really interesting image. There is a picture of the jailer with a gigantic Azerite beam right behind him. Of course, nothing confirms that this is Azerite, but all of you that play BFA know exactly what Azerite looks like, and there is a very high chance that this might just be it. Now, think about it, what is Azerite as far as we know? Azerite is the blood of the soul of Azeroth, both in crystallized and in liquid form. Now, why would a liquid beam of Azerite channel right in the center of the Sepulchre, this so-called forge of the workshop of the first ones? Do you know where the blood flows? Veins? Could the Sepulchre literally be Azeroth, or maybe even the heart of Azeroth, where Azerite itself is pumping and just keeping it alive? Of course, the theories in this case number in the millions, but I think these are more than just vague hints, and potentially we have really strong evidence here that the Sepulchre is either a part of Azeroth, strongly connected to Azeroth, or maybe even Azeroth itself. It could literally be the core of our planet. Additionally, it was never confirmed where Zereth Mortis actually is. We'll probably find out that quite soon. We were told that it is the behind the scenes of the Shadowlands, that it is used to create afterlives, and that it also shaped all of our experiences on Azeroth. So it is entirely possible that Zereth Mortis is literally on Azeroth, like the core of the planet. It wouldn't be the first time something like this happens. You know about the Elemental Plane or the Emerald Dream, for example? We had these alternate realms connected to Azeroth, but not being out in the open or accessible through anything pretty much since forever. Now let's dig even deeper. Do you remember when Sargeras lost at the end of Legion and he decided he's just going to stab Azeroth? This caused a massive wound and Azerite aka blood just started leaking everywhere. What if Sargeras was not after the Titan as we were told, but he was also after Zereth Mortis, and he had the exact same goal as the jailer? Sargeras was crazy with how chaotic the universe is, and he wanted to undo everything at its core. This is what has been the main goal of the Legion since its creation, pretty much why the Legion was even created in the first place. What if Sargeras realized that wiping out planets isn't the answer, but the answer is reaching Zereth Mortis and doing exactly what the jailer is doing? When he couldn't reach it and we broke his engine, he just tried to brute force it and stab it, and he was partially successful. If the Sepulchre is the heart of Azeroth, he may have created a wound that started leaking on the surface, as we had seen, and the blood itself could be all the energy that keeps everything running. Azerite itself could be the lifeblood of Zereth Mortis, which in turn empowers the entirety of the cosmos. Now, of course, it is still way too early to actually figure this out, but at the moment we have stronger hints than we ever had before. I really doubt the name Zereth and Azeroth is just a simple coincidence, and all these hints that were thrown our way also seem to be way too significant to just be dismissed as a wild speculation. Of course, we'll have to wait for 9.2 to come out and for everything to finally unfold, but I think we may just be onto something. Thank you for watching. Check out other Titans, literally just glorified roleplayers by clicking on the screen, and check out Doron's Academy for videos on real world history. See you next time.